What is up, Surgeaholics? Welcome back, Sooner Surge Live at 9:30. Appreciate everybody being on here as usual. We got the usuals on here already. Monty's right. Hit the like button. Appreciate it. What's up, Steeler Man, Sooners WX, Aaron, Sooner Freak, everybody. Could you go to all of us? And we got Hunter here tonight. Jeremy's on his way to the hospital. Our dad had some issues tonight, shortness of breath and some other issues. So they're taking him there for some testing and stuff. So prayers for that big time. Jeremy is on his way there. So just for all that, just appreciate the prayers on that. So thank you, everybody. And thanks for Hunter jumping in here. So what's up, Hunter?
Not much. It's a bye week and you can feel it. I mean, there's not much going on right now. I mean, struggling to come up with the title for tonight, talking about this team. I mean, they're 5-5 and they're on a bye week before two big games to close it out, and their likelihoods of making a bowl game are slim to none.
Yeah, and that is probably the hot thing of the day was the tweet from OU Insider about Michael Fasusi and Ryan Foje basically saying they aren't going anywhere. They're committed. That's good to hear. Now, signing day still 20 days away, so a lot can. I mean, guys, everybody knows on here. I don't follow recruiting that closely. I'm a firm believer in when I see the signature, and then it's okay to say. So we'll see. I feel pretty good, but we'll see. They got to keep the class together. I know that. And then Bobby says, I'm saying it today. The OC will be Craddock or Arbuckle. I think it's one of those two guys. If it's going to be one of those two guys, give me Arbuckle every day of the week. I am way higher on Arbuckle than I am Craddock. That's just a personal opinion.
I like Arbuckle a lot. I also like Craddock. I mean, Craddock, you also have – I mean, I guess the same could be said for both.
Mateer would come with him probably.
Yes, if Oklahoma were to lose both of their quarterbacks, you could get that replacement. Should be easily from one of those. I said it in the comments. I think it was last night. Why so many people are big on Arbuckle, yet no one's really talking about Zach Kitley. I think if you're going to talk about Arbuckle, you should talk about Kitley as well. Just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of interesting. But hey, real quick, I want to get to Chester's if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it here. Chester says, family, I think he's trying to say family gun first. Y'all should take a break. Here's the deal. I'm too far away. There's not a whole lot I can do. So we discussed it. Jeremy's there in the same city. So he's there at the hospital. There's not a whole lot I can do except get updates. I think it sounds like it's more of a testing thing. So, but we'll see. But yeah, I agree. Family first, as always. Always do. Philip says he likes Craddock because he seems more in eye formation from what I heard. Not sure on that. Play action too. I think they do a lot of play action. Here's why I'm not a huge fan of Craddock. And I've said it before. I'm just not a big fan of the Chad Morris regime and that tree at all. And I'm just not. And I think I am also not a big fan. And I've said this before, that Craddock has that tie to Clemson. And there's a little bit of that. I'd rather Arbuckle just because, you differ on that?
I think ties are going, the same can be said in any profession, Jay. You hire people. You probably see it sometimes. People hire people that they're familiar with, friends with, and all that. That's just how things work. I think it's pretty much impossible to avoid ties completely. I don't think that's too deep of a tie. I think more of the issue is when you're trying to hire somebody because they played at Oklahoma, and that's kind of your justification for hiring them. That's a little bit different, but I mean, people are going to hire their friends. That's just how it goes.
Listen, I do hire a lot of people. I get it. But you know what? You know what I don't do, Hunter? I don't go to somebody who wasn't very good and ask if they know somebody or they worked with somebody. That's what you're doing with the Chad Morris. Chad Morris wasn't very good.
I don't think it's fair to hold Joe Craddock so much from.
I know. I'm just saying my opinion. My opinion. And I think Arbuckle's only 29 years old. He's a big up and comer. And I just like their off. I kind of liked his style offense better. Now, they would probably both be okay. I am not sold on Joe Craddock. I don't know why. I can't pinpoint it, Hunter. I'm just not. And everyone has their own opinion. I mean, you got Chester that likes Brendan Marion. I mean, you know who I like number one. You got Zaya saying G.J. Kinney, Mac Leftwich, or Andy Cunt are the other two I like if it's not Arbuckle or Craig. Yeah, Andy Kolonicki I've heard a lot of. I'm not a massive fan of his either, to be honest.
It's a year too late on him. I mean, right now he's top 5 in pay, maybe even I think he's at 1.9 million. So that's for sure top 5, if not top 3 at Penn State. I wouldn't see him leaving Penn State because they're number 4 in the country right now. They're about to go to the college football playoff and maybe win a game or two in the playoff. Why leave that situation for him in the grand scheme of things, for at least what I imagine Oklahoma to pay for an offensive coordinator, not much more than what he's currently making.
And I would agree with Mess on this. I've said that all along. That's why I've mentioned the Dan Mullen stuff, because I think Mullen would be you could hang your hat on it. Like you could go right here. You could go Arbuckle, Craddock, Marion, somebody else mentioned another one earlier, Shanahan. All 4 of those guys, I think they're kind of all, would you say they're all kind of similar in their own way? And the fact that every one of those would be, okay, can they do it at Oklahoma? Can they? I mean, Shanahan, the thing about Shanahan is he's been with Signetti the whole time.
I do not see Shanahan leaving Signetti.
I don't either. So rule him out. So you got Craddock, Marion,
a head coaching job.
Yeah. So I think all those guys are kind of similar. And if you're going to pick one of those guys, what do you think Brent Venables is basing it off of? If he's going to pick between, so say Craddock and Arbuckle, what's he going to pick it off of? Probably because he knows Craddock. I mean, that
probably so. Who knows? I mean, I don't know what they.
Somebody said no. Somebody said no Washington State guys. Well, Washington State, Tulane. I mean,
I think there was also someone saying no Tech guys, because I don't know. I mean, at that point, you're just playing the game of, well, you can't hire anybody. Like, come on.
Do you think these are taking place right now? These talks have to be.
I don't know, Jay. I'm not going to speculate on it.
I'm not speculating.
I don't know how. I wouldn't imagine. Yes, agents. Yes,
yeah, it has to be.
I wouldn't, and I would think it would be more of administration at this point in time on the OU side of things if conversations are taking place, because it's tough for people to be talking mid-season. It just is. I mean, everyone has. I mean, for Brent Venables, he's trying to figure out a way to win one of these 2 games and to keep that bowl streak alive for Oklahoma. These other coaches, they're trying to potentially make it to the playoff or make it into a conference championship. Like, there's still a lot of season left right now. It's difficult for people like that to be having conversations and negotiations.
And Sooner Freak's been saying, Sooner Freak from day one said Fasusi, from day one has said Casey Woods. And he may be right. Sooner Freak's been right before. So, hey, now Colin Klein's an interesting name. I don't know what type of move that would be for him, you know, but I think it's a name to maybe keep an eye on. I don't know if they've narrowed it down to a few yet. I really don't. I was wanting to get to something. What was it? Maybe it was this. Arbuckle, more money left over to hire more elite. Arbuckle's 29. Is he going to bring his own OC or offensive coaches in, or are they just going to leave what they have? I mean, you know what I mean? He's a very young guy.
That's one thing with younger coaches that are in their first few years of being coordinators. I think Brendan Marion's kind of the exception, because it's an offense that he literally created. So he's going to get a lot more leeway to if he wants to bring in his own guys to have the liberty to do so. I don't know how you have those kind of conversations or decisions with the younger coach like Arbuckle. I mean, you say at 29, that's kind of, he hasn't been around for a whole lot to be able to determine really who fits well with him and all that. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
we
Lincoln,
got
how old was Lincoln when he took over, where he was OC?
not much, not the same age, wasn't it?
I
You know where Arbuckle's from. You know where he was born, right?
saw Randall Sweet, former OU beat writer.
He's
Now
born in the Texas Panhandle.
yeah,
Smaller town than Muleshoe, I think.
they were playing Muleshoe today.
Yes.
Yeah, Randall Sweet covering it for down in Amarillo.
Hey, let's get to Chester. We got Chester on the line. What's up, Chester?
Yeah, I just want to remind people the reason why I wanted Marion.
Yeah.
I know everybody says it's gimmicky. Well, the wishbone was gimmicky. The split T was gimmicky. The spread was gimmicky. Mike Leach's stuff was gimmicky. So I don't understand it. But
is he still your number one guy, you think, that you would like?
Yes. And like I told you guys, now this is for the newer peeps in chat. Everybody's been complaining about DeMarco Murray for years, especially after the Tolly Walker stuff, right?
Yeah.
This year has shown it again. He just can't seem to get a rotation. I don't know why. I don't know what it is in practice. But Marion apparently is also the running backs coach. So you get rid of DeMarco. So you solve two problems. You got an OC and a running back coach. And he's a great recruiter in Texas.
Yeah, I'm not hearing his name much around anymore. Have you?
Well, yeah, I think that got shot out of the water, apparently.
Yeah, I agree.
But the more I looked into damn Mullen, maybe it ain't that bad, because he could do with Hawkins what he did with the other quarterbacks that he put into the pros. You know what I mean?
Well, here's what Mullen does do. He's a matchup guy. If he can change the offense to whatever you really need to do to get things done. I think that's what I like.
And I always used. Sorry, go ahead.
No, he's just not just an air raid guy.
Yeah, and I used to always say back when I was living in Georgia, I was like, man, Mullen's a really good coach. I just think his last couple of years when he got older, it was like, nah. And my concern with him is he's been out, 3 years now? Might be a little rust.
Is this year 2 or 3?
Year 3.
This is year 3. Okay.
Might be a little rust. If
Yeah,
but
true.
That's the reason why I was always saying Marion, because we do run the ball well. Even with this bad O-line, we still run it well.
They do run it well. And Bobby just makes a great point here. It says Marion to Florida State makes sense to me with he played under Norvell at Tulsa. I didn't think about that connection.
Yeah, that's true too. That is very true.
I do think
he recruits Texas hard. So
he does recruit hard in Texas. You're right.
I mean, that's just 3 points I want to bring up. Y'all have fun.
All right, you too. Thanks for the call, Chester. Look at Grey God coming around on Mullen as well. Here's what's happening. More people are talking about Mullen, so people are starting to come around on it. That's a fact. I saw, Dusty put something out. I think Sooner Scoop put something. I mean, people are putting something out about Mullen.
Put stuff out. I mean,
yeah.
So people tonight I saw a few Tulsa guys covering the Tulsa game tonight, talking about how Dan Mullen's in Tulsa type of deal. I mean,
Thune was all over him today. There you go. I mean, I don't want to say I said it a long time ago, but I did, and a lot of people bash me for it, but whatever. People are coming around, though, now. And it probably won't happen anyway. So it is what it is. It'd be great if it did. But here's what I was going to ask. This is a great conversation. First, Dalpost asked, what does OU have to do next year to keep the staff? Okay. But before we get to that, I want to ask this question. It was said a few days ago, I don't know, but somebody said that OU's going all in money-wise. And a lot of people are like, well, why didn't they do that this year? You know what I didn't think about? The revenue. $20 million starts next year.
But that's separate from NIL type of thing.
It's paying players. You can pick how much you pay.
It's separate from your collective.
It's separate from the collective, but you can use that money to pay players, Hunter.
There's still, I think I saw something today that they're like Sankey put out statement or something about it today that they're getting close to finalizing kind of that number. I could be wrong on that though. Just brief.
But that
tweeting.
number, you can pay players.
But it's also not all of 20 million, Jay.
No, you got to divvy it up between sports.
Well, yes, between sports and Title
but
IX.
18 million of that would go to football.
Is that what you saw? Okay, I don't know.
No, I'm just telling you that's probably what would happen. Probably 18
No,
million.
but there's restrictions to it. I don't know what those restrictions are, but it's a separate thing. I don't know. I mean, that's going to change some stuff too. But I think if people are wanting to be like, oh, OU's going all in this year, then that means that's money from the collective, I would imagine, than just the revenue, because everyone's going to have the revenue, at least of the big dogs. I mean,
but OU didn't have that revenue this year is what I'm saying.
Okay, but when everyone's spending 20 million and OU's finally joining them, it's still going to be kind of the same thing.
I agree with that.
At that point, spend even more. I think the 20 million number is almost the pure collective NIL part of it compared to the revenue from the athletic department, because, I mean, obviously schools have the option to take it or not, to do it or not do it. But in the SEC, every single school, I think even Vanderbilt, with the way they're playing right now, they're going to do it. I mean, in the Big Ten, those top schools, they're going to do it. If you want to win a national championship, you're going to have to spend as much money from your revenue as possible, on top of building a expensive roster through the other portions of NIL.
Correct. You got to go all in. You have to. You're not winning, especially in the SEC. It's not happening. Dalpo says, when do you expect them to make this hire? ASAP. I mean, as soon as it humanly possible. Guys, the portal is too quick. You have to be quick on a hire. The portal is way too quick. And as Bobby says, December 1st, as soon as you can make the hire, you got to make it. Here's my question.
They've moved stuff up this year compared to last year. Like signing day is a little earlier than it used to be. And there's still, for this year, still the portal in that month time frame, which I want to say that's about the identical date as last year. Maybe actually a day or so later than it was last year. It felt like the first week
portal
after.
Opens the 4th. Hey, the people guys are mentioning, Arbuckle, Craddock, and Mullen. Pretty much all three of those, I think you could hire ASAP. But hey, here's my thing too. Whoever you hire absolutely has to be the quarterback coach. Have to be.
So that takes out Brendan Marion. That honestly probably takes out Mike Shanahan.
Correct.
So
I'm doing a process of elimination. I think that's a caveat for me. Is they got to be able to coach quarterbacks themselves. I think anytime you have an OC that is also the quarterback coach and he's good at it, it makes the offense just better, I think.
It does, yeah. Or you could have an OC that's bad at it, and we're Oklahoma right now. There you go.
That's true. I'm Nuts says, I doubt 90% of Sooner fans didn't know who Bob Stoops was. So you might choose a guy that's not being mentioned. It turns out to be a home run. Now, that's true. I remember when that happened. A lot of people are like, wow, that's a surprise. He hasn't coached before. But it turned out great. I do think it's a little different, though.
What?
He hadn't been a head coach yet.
Yeah, but he was a very good defensive coordinator.
I know, but he hadn't been a head coach, is what I'm saying. Now, Hunter, you're too young to remember this. So just, I mean, I don't even know what you probably weren't even born yet. Okay.
Yeah. But 6 years before my time.
Okay. You were before time. But here's what I'll say about that. One of the reasons that hire worked is because it was totally different. It was somebody that you didn't have Blake that was tied to OU, Gibbs. It was outside of it. So I think that's another reason it changed changed the culture a little bit, I think, when they brought him in. And he was the national championship, but so is Brent Venables. So, I mean, he was well known in national. You're right. He was well known in national. I just think I think back then, even a lot of OU people were looking for a guy that knew OU pretty well. Hey, let's get to Platoon 20. What's up?
With the universities paying the players directly. I'm not a lawyer, so forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think that thing is still way up in the air. I mean, right now, the players have no say in it, right? So basically, you have the power conferences making a settlement with the NCAA, and the NCAA says, well, they can pay around $20 million. I think it said it's 22% of revenue can be shared with the athletes. But in order for that to work, the conferences would have to get Congress to agree to give the football teams an NCAA antitrust exemption, and that has not happened yet. So I'm pretty sure that this is still going to be up in the air for a while, because you can't have, like right now, you've got a collusion between the NCAA and the conferences, right? With the players have no say in it. Most of the courts are not going to uphold that unless there's some kind of antitrust exemption, which right now they don't have. So I know that's a lot of details and stuff, but I would just put it like this. I think that whole thing is up in the air. It's going to get litigated in the courts. So I don't think that's even close to being settled yet. So.
Well, and I heard today on the radio, some guy was talking about OSU, and he said that, and he's the guy that runs his own business and gives money. Now, I don't know if this is true. Maybe you guys do. He said that the way it's working now with the NIL businesses is if he proposes to pay, let's just say, Ollie Gordon a certain amount of money, it's got to be approved by a board that says he's worth that much. Have you guys heard this?
That was gonna happen. I didn't know.
No, he said it. He said it's in. It's happened. I didn't know that it already went through. I didn't know there was a board kind of overseeing that. Is that true? I mean, has anybody heard that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't heard that directly. It's different at the NIL level because those are negotiated individual by individual. This new thing with the NCAA, that's across the board, which is different than the NIL. So that's
true. That's true. It's a different thing.
It's a more complicated thing what the NCAA is trying to do. I think they're trying to basically cap the amount that each university spends, right? Which makes sense. I can see why they want to do that, but I think it's going to run into some legal trouble, because I could see the attorneys for the players saying, "Hey, we didn't agree to cap this at this level," because right now they have no say in what's happening. So I don't know. It's still up in the air. I think that's still going to be down the line before that gets sorted out. But I think the NCAA is anticipating being sued in court by agents of the players at some point anyway. So anyway, this is my thoughts.
Good stuff. I agree. I think that will be down the line. And Lone Wolf puts us in there. It's funny because that's exactly what was talked about on the radio. The guy that said that said it's leading to under the table stuff like it used to be.
That's what Brian said as well. Like,
yeah,
they're the people that want to do it for the benefit of their school, university, all of that program. They're still going to do it. They're just not going to do it in the legal way. And kind of something off of OU real quick. Bryce Underwood today, Jay.
$10.5 million.
$10.5.
Oh, you got Portney back in it.
Who?
Dave Portney.
Portnoy.
Well, I call him Portney. Okay, that's how I say it. Hey, he's given $3 to $4 million for it.
I think that he was saying more of transfer quarterbacks, but yes, he did say he would give $3 million.
$3 to $4 million.
Yeah, to transfer to Michigan. But he posted and then now has deleted it, a thing on his Instagram story that he declined the offer. So who knows?
No, that is all a smokescreen.
Yeah.
All that is to say he declined it when he's probably going to go sign there later on and said he thought about it.
I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see if he ends up at Michigan. That's a whole lot of money to be giving a kid that hasn't played yet. Probably going to work out.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Yeah.
You're going to see. Hey, you saw Alabama in the last 3 days have lost 3 commits, I believe. Flipped.
I have.
USC's lost 3 to 4. Flipped.
And it's not even like Bama's playing bad right now. I mean, they're in the playoff picture. And
yeah, the point is this. There's going to be more flips now because of NIL. Because, hey, I was going to go to Bama, but if you're going to pay me that much money, see ya. I mean, it's a business. That's what it is. It's a business. And correct, Greg is correct on that. Can make NIL apart from the shared revenue. The shared revenue is something that the universities divvy out. NIL is a totally different thing. So yes, they're going to make both. Flip them a season. That's right. It is. And we just got to hope as Oklahoma fans that they don't have many flips right now. They need to keep this class together, period.
They have to.
And hey, that's why I think the next 2 games are actually pretty important, that you don't get blown out both games. I do think that's a big thing. You got to go in there at least somehow
competitive, but
you got to be competitive at some.
The only games that Oklahoma's been competitive in the SEC was, I guess, the first half of Ole Miss, Missouri, but the way that they collapse, it doesn't even. I kind of wash it. I mean, Auburn, yeah, it's been a bad year all around for Oklahoma. Just really bad, and now you have Bama, and then you're gonna have to go on the road to LSU.
John's asking who we think might flip. I don't want to go down a list of guys. I think your biggest guys in the class would be the ones I would watch out for because of more money issues. But I think Fasusi's pretty strong right now. But hey, the Casey Thompson stuff, I understand the part of like, hey, give him some snaps. He's at OU. He's a legacy guy. But does that do anything for you for next year? I mean, don't you think you need to throw Hawkins out there and see what he can do?
I don't know, Jack. I personally, if I was making the decision, I would either stay with Arnold or just completely wave the white flag and throw Casey Thompson out there and let him quarterback these last 2 games. I don't know. They need to make a decision, though. I think they're going to stay with Arnold. But I think they need to just stay with it for the remainder, not this back and forth like they did before between the quarterbacks. So I don't know. I think it's.
Do you think they get a portal quarterback? Have to.
Well, it depends on if they both leave or not.
Even if they don't, you got to get one.
Well, I mean, you'll get a Casey Thompson or Davis Bevel if both of them don't leave. Yeah, you're going to get a backup. That will happen, but
I think for sure one of them's leaving. I'd be shocked if both stay.
I'm with you, Jay. Yeah.
How much would Reggie Bush made in NIL?
I don't know. That was a little bit before my time, but
he would have banked. He would have banked.
So marketable, man.
Dude, he would have made so much money in NIL. It's unbelievable.
There's a lot of players like that. I mean, Charlie Ward was on credit cards and all of that stuff. Not able to get time off of any of it, even though his likeness is all over the place.
I do like a scenario where say 1 or 2 of those guys left. I do like a scenario where an OC brings a guy, because here's the thing we have not talked about yet. It doesn't matter who you bring in. You're learning a new offense. So whoever it is, and that's why I think the OC has to be a quarterback guy. And Sooner Freak 29, yes, that rolls out your guy Casey Woods. Here's the reason. You're changing the offense again with quarterbacks and young quarterbacks. If these are your quarterbacks, you got to have somebody that can coach these guys up. And they don't have anybody there right now. I've heard the Kevin John stuff. Please, I'm not on that bandwagon. Okay, go get an OC that can call plays and coach. There's nothing better than a quarterback going to the sidelines after a series and being able to talk to the OC who also knows how to coach quarterbacks. Can't beat it. It's undefeated.
Well, they also need to be on the sideline, I think.
I would agree with that. Reggie Bush better than Adrian Peterson. That's a great conversation. All around back, yes. Because he could catch the ball out of the backfield like no other.
I think if you're sticking more to just college.
Totally different backs.
Yeah, they a lot different. And Peterson had a much better NFL career. And Eric's saying in college. So, yeah.
Wait, Sooner Freak. I thought this was the guy you said, though. Am I mistaken here? I'm not saying you want him.
Trying to get at that he doesn't want him. It's just who he is.
Gotcha.
Been saying it will be.
Yeah, I don't think you bring anybody and announce anybody a starter. You got to. It can't be that way. But I would think if you bring in Arbuckle and he brings in the guy that's at his school, you would think he's going to be starting.
That's going to be how it is, unless you somehow bring in 2 really good quarterbacks. But I mean, in today's day and age, that's just these guys want to play, plain and simple. They want to play football.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mr. B. Mr. B, I'm with you. Troy says James Coley. We haven't heard that name a lot. I don't like it. I don't like that hire.
No.
Do you?
I don't. I would prefer Rashad Samples, or is it Junior Adams from Oregon?
Junior Adams out of Oregon.
Yes, yeah. I would prefer one of the non-OCs or non-play callers from Oregon in a promotion than Coley from Georgia.
Yeah, this is funny. Platoon 20. I remember when things were bad in 96 and a lot of OU fans wanted to hire John Madden. I remember that too. Hey, make sure you check out the Fan Stop, www.thefanstop.com. Use code SURGE, get 10% off your first 3 months. And by the way, Christmas around the corner. It's a great gift. Gift a subscription to somebody in your family. Great gift to do. So make sure you do that. Washington State quarterback Mateer or Mensah, who's better? I think they're probably comparable, but I don't even know. I don't know enough about them, to be honest with you. I really don't. Adrian Peterson was great, but he's not the savior. Dan Mullen is not coming to OU. Get real, says SEC eats BV. Get real. Get real. They are. A lot of Florida State people think they're getting Dan Mullen. Here's the issue. Why would Dan Mullen go to Florida State with Mike Norvell as a head coach? Mike Norvell calls plays.
Well, then that's the same thing of Brennan Marion. Like,
That's what I'm saying. The only thing that would happen is if it's like BB, where BB brought in Allen, says I'm not going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Because right now he's been calling. Norvell's been calling plays. Has he not been every year? I think he has been. But I know Akins was their OC, but I don't know how much play calling he did. Oregon goes out and gets another transfer. Dante Moore could be an option. There's going to be guys options from other schools, like, for instance, Ole Miss, Walker Howard. He's not playing there. He was a highly recruited guy. But at some point, you need to pick a guy that you think's going to be the guy and ride him. I mean, if it's whoever it is, because I don't know, man. Sooner says he thinks he would come as a head coach, not as an OC. And maybe. Who knows? Nobody knows. Who's winning the TU game tonight? Anybody know?
Tulsa is up by 1.
Really?
Carolina scored, could tie it up, but missed the extra point, kind of like Jake Elliott tonight for the Birds.
Is there a good crowd there?
I haven't. I'm watching the Eagles game tonight. I haven't watched Tulsa.
John Gruden's off the board. He's with Barstool Sports now. What a hire! What a hire by Barstool.
No, the guy's an idiot. I am
Who's an idiot?
John Gruden, man.
Oh, he's great.
Not on social media. He's not.
He's great on TV.
He was great. Yes, he was great on TV when they used to do the quarterback shows, all of that. But since then, the nonsense he's posting on TikTok, Twitter, whatever social media he's on, it's not a fan of it, man.
He'll be good for Barstool.
Yeah, they say a lot of wild stuff. He fits in.
Eagles are beating Washington. What happened? It was 10-6.
Saquon Barkley happened. That's what.
We got on this live. It was 10-6, and you were worried sick, Hunter. You said fire Sirianni every night I talk to you. Fire Sirianni.
Nothing has changed.
The most unreal Philly fan I've ever heard. Fire Sirianni. Yeah, you are. Fire Sirianni.
He's awful. He needs
What's
to go.
the record, Hunter?
7-2 right now, and they would be 8.
Hey, fire him. Fire him.
Yes, he's terrible.
Wow.
He does nothing. It's not a bad take. If you watch the team as much as I did, you would probably agree with me, Joe.
I don't watch him. You're right. I'm watching my Dallas Cowboys do great things, okay? Zaya says Mullen will take over Okie Light if they finally kick Gundy or Color. Hey, Gundy's going to have a whole new staff, isn't he?
I don't know how Mike Gundy keeps his job.
He's keeping his job.
You can't. You just can't. Because it's not even like, usually the other times, like, Gundy says wild stuff, but they win. They've been to what, 17, 18 straight bowl games now, all under Gundy. Okay. You kind of put up with the just insane stuff that he says or does in the media. With what he's saying right now about the fans calling them poor and they can't take care of their families, you can't defend that. They're 3-7 right now. You cannot keep it. You just can't.
Yeah. Hey, Chris says, does Prime go to Dallas? I would be fine with that as a Dallas Cowboy fan.
I don't think Jerry would do it, though.
I would love it. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing, too. Deion said the other day he will make sure that Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter, they get to play at the school they pick or the team they pick. He's going to make sure that happens. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I mean, it's happened before. Eli Manning, remember that?
But as a coach, he's going to make sure that they go to the team they pick. Come on. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Yeah, who cares? Gundy's godfathered in.
And I get that, Bobby, but I think what he did this, what now, a week, 2 weeks ago, however long it's been, I think that's over the line even for him.
Who would you pick right now in that game?
Oklahoma State.
What?
I
mean, OU's bad.
OU's offense is bad, man.
That would probably be a game of, yeah, but if they couldn't score on OSU's horrible defense, you got real problems. It'd probably be a pick 'em.
It's
be
bad.
A pick 'em. Would it be a pick 'em?
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris says he heard Sanders, his boy, and Travis Hunter are going to come with him to Dallas. Yeah, make that work with money. How's that going to work with CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott?
You can trade Micah Parsons.
Yeah, you could.
Because they don't really have the money to keep him. I mean, when you're paying Dak Prescott $50 million for who knows why.
East Carolina just scored, Monty said. Hey, phone lines are open if you want to call in. They are open. Call in. Give us a chat. Should be in the chat there, probably pinned at the top. Madman says, I remember visiting OU's campus in 1983. Thanks. 2 new Cadillac Elfords with plates OU 22 and OU 23. Tisdale and Dupree. Man, that was golly, man. They had some good players back then. Jeez. Hubs got OU 10-3. It would probably be a low scoring game.
Yes.
It's probably a good year that they didn't play each other. I mean,
no one wants to watch that.
No.
Great.
Nobody wants to watch that. No. There was something I was going to get up here. Did you see the line for the OU Bama game came out today?
No, I did not.
13.
Really?
A little low.
I would imagine that changes.
Don't you think it's low?
Yes, but we're, 9 days out? Is that right? 9? Yeah, 9 days out. It's a Thursday. So, I mean, Bama's going to whoop up on Mercer this week. That line will change a little bit.
Probably will. Just 13, Greg God says, give me my money. Give me the money. Too bad Jeremy's not on here. He'd be like, give me the money. I'm pretty sure. Maybe somebody can look it up. I thought I saw on Twitter today it was 13. That's what I thought I saw. Free money, Stillerman says. But maybe I'm wrong on that. I just thought I saw that was 13. Here's the thing. They're going to try to run quarterback Milroe. OU's been good against the run, number 2 in the nation. They haven't been good against the pass, but they've been good against the run. Eric says he thought it was 20 plus. I did too originally, but I saw today it was 13. Now, somebody can post it in here if I'm wrong.
I think right now, though, it's not going to be accurate because a lot of those places aren't even really. Of course they do, Maz. OU's going 12-0. A lot of those places aren't even taking stuff right now because there's still a week of games going on. Before.
You know what? This brings up a good point. I have not seen Ron the last few nights, but I've seen Brent Venables.
Ron has been on here with Brent Venables.
Tonight?
Not, I don't know about tonight, but I thought I saw him on here, but maybe I'm wrong. But every other night he has been.
So we still don't know who Brent Venables and Kel Gundy are.
Yeah, I think it's annoying, Jay. Me personally.
He says I'm here. Yeah.
Cool.
Probably some road booking site that will be defunct in a week. Hope it's not a blowout. I'm with you. I don't think they can afford to get blown out the next 2 games. Whether you think they will or not, I think it would hurt big time if you get destroyed 2 games. How good is LSU? Did you see they can still make the SEC championship game?
Yeah, they can. It's
not that hard for them to happen to do it.
I think they're kind of far
All
down.
the favorites win and they're in. If the favorites win, they're in.
No.
Yes, I saw it today. If every team that's predicted to win the games in the SEC wins, they're in. I'm pretty sure I saw the tweet today.
Oh, I wonder if remember that one.
Except Texas A&M would have to beat Texas, I think.
You remember that? Man, I can't think of the name of it. But there was that site. We did a whole video on it last year about the Big 12 tiebreakers. I know they're up and running. I would assume they're updated.
The SEC tiebreaker?
No, it was like where you.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
The computer generates it all for you. I can't remember the name of it though. I have to go back and find them.
Looked at the play-by-plays. OU has had 30 turnovers, counting downs, 1 safety, and the opponent scored 80 points on the following drive or directly on the turnover. Take away the turnovers, OU's 8-2. I mean, turnovers are a big deal in any sport. I mean, but football, especially when a lot of those, you mentioned touchdowns on the drive, they had 44 of those points were touchdowns on the play of the turnover. So that doesn't help things at all, for sure. Let's see. CS Land says, Chester, it's an indictment of the era. Throw stats all you want. It just adds up to waste, or maybe OU was just not lucky. Is Saban going to LSU? No. Injuries, turnovers, I think is what he's saying there. Bobby says, Millworth does a great deep ball. I expect him to make Woody look foolish multiple times. I think it's too early for me on that game to pick a score. I'm not picking a score yet.
I would pick Bama by 28.
28. Like what kind of score? Like you talking about 38-10? Something like that?
There you go. I'll take that one, yeah.
You'll take 38-10?
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, that's another thing. And usually, here's what the crazy thing is, Mr. B. Not only can they not score, I saw a stat where
Christopher Oven.
Yes, this stat where when they got a turnover on defense and got the ball back, like the next play they turned it over. I mean, what was the stat, Hunter? Do you remember it?
I think it was every time other than the Kip 6 play. Was like within 2 minutes and some change. They turned it back over. Yeah. Either by 3 and outs or actual turnovers. It's bad. Regardless of how you look at it, it's really bad.
Yeah. Clyde says, will Barnes be back? I expect Barnes to be back. Don't you?
I mean, I would assume so. I didn't expect him to regress as bad as he did from getting banged up in that main game to then able to fight through it and then not able to play the following week. So
this is a great comment by Coconut Greg. Swear Woody played with Baker. LOL. Let's do something here as we.
I would say when hurts to believe though.
Yeah, as we got the last few minutes here on this live, let's do something. Name a guy from OU that you thought the same thing. Like, gosh, this guy played forever. There's guys out there that you're like, man, he's still at OU. Who are some of them, Hunter? Do you know any off the top of your head?
I'm trying to think.
I got one, and he wasn't even there that long. But Bookie.
No,
it's because he played so young. He played.
Yeah.
Jordan Evans.
Yeah.
Okay. What about Drake Stoops?
Drake Stoops played with Kyler Murray and Dylan Gabriel. So,
at least we don't have Cam Rising. He got recruited by Bob Stoops.
Yeah. Committed to Bob Stoops.
Turn on the Tulsa game. Hurricane, baby. Caleb Kelly's a great one, Ricky. That is a great.
His situation was a lot different because it was injuries, kind of.
Derek Strait. See, I'm different on this one, Sooner WX. I don't feel like he did, but some people have said that to me. So maybe this is a great comment, Steeler man. Sharp feels like he's played for the team for 5 years. Brennan Clay's a good one. Who was the other running back that took it 99 yards against A&M, or like 90 yards? Patrick, Alan Patrick.
Yeah.
He was another one. Seemed like he played around for. Landry Jones is another good one, Ricky.
Played for what, 4 years?
Yeah, but it seemed like a long time, Hunter.
I'm not sure how. I guess I'm confused by the question.
Ryan Reynolds. How are you confused? Do you know a guy in Kansas basketball named Perry Ellis?
Yeah.
Perry Ellis played like 20 years. Okay, he was an old man. Didn't really, but it felt like he did. That's the point I'm trying to make. There's guys like that. Do you understand where I'm going now?
Yeah, I got you now.
I mean, wish we had Landry Jones now. A lot of Sooner fans didn't like Landry Jones. I know Jeremy specifically didn't like him. But isn't that ironic? Alabama isn't worried about redshirting Brian Williams. OU's terrified. Yeah. I hate the red shirts. I hate it. And here's the thing. We can talk about what has to happen
I'm
next year.
torn on all the red shirt stuff because, like, I get it. Play them all year, though. Play them all year. Why burn it over a couple of snaps?
How many good players, Hunter, stay 4 years?
I don't know, Jay.
Very slim.
Yeah. It's different, but it's still something that when you have the opportunity to preserve it, you should preserve it. But I think the more important question is, why wasn't Xavier Robinson playing meaningful football the first 8 weeks of the season? That's a much bigger question.
Do you think
he looked pretty dang good?
Do you think there's ever this thought? And I don't know. I don't want to put words into people's mouth, but do you think Jason White's a good one too? Do you think there's any thought of coaches, like, for instance, I'm going to throw Devon Mitchell's name out there. Hasn't played a snap, okay? So he could play the next 2 games. Do you think there's a part of the coaches like, don't play him if he looks good, people are going to roast us?
I think if that's the case, that's just sorry.
No, but do you think – I'm not talking about OU in general. I'm saying coaches
I think if people are concerned about what the media – coaches and players concerned about what the media or fans are saying, that's just – I think that's kind of soft. I'm sorry.
And I agree with Sooner Freak 29 here. I agree 100%. Good teams don't worry about redshirts. I would agree with that. I know, Hunter, you're on the different end of the spectrum.
No, it's not even as much of different. It's why do it over a couple of games? Like, I have no issue with if you're going to play these guys all year, you don't want to redshirt them, that's fine. My issue with it is you're burning a year of eligibility when at this point the season's basically over. They're 5-5. They're not making a bowl game. It's just not going to happen. And you're looking at what, 1 snap, 2 snaps against Ole Miss. Like, it's handful of snaps. The final drive against Texas, that game was 34-0, and they couldn't even get in the end zone. Like, come on. Or 34-3, sorry. 34-3. They could not score a touchdown there, even though they were in the red zone as time expired. That's my issue with it all. Play them all year, that's fine. I wouldn't complain about it at all. It's when you're wasting it over a handful of plays. Same thing with Jackson Arnold's last year. It was stupid for how they used him against SMU and against Iowa State. Why? Why do that?
Yeah, and Jen has got a few names there. Nate Hibble and Paul Thompson are good ones. I agree with that. Hey, the redshirt thing, though, to me, it's different than it used to be. A lot of times people didn't play guys as freshmen because they weren't ready physically. It's different in high school now. The strength and conditioning programs are way better than they used to be. Guys come into college early in January, and they are ready to go, okay? They're physical enough to play. It's not like it used to be. So the red shirt to me can just go away. I don't really, it does nothing to me. And you know what else probably needs to go away? I wonder if it will. The walk-on and preferred walk-on, is that going to go away with all the revenue in the NIL?
No, it's not going to go away.
Do you think
scout teams still exist, Jay? Those aren't going away. They're not going to eliminate scout teams. Like, come on.
But
maybe there's more of the gap of, okay, yeah, a scout teamer is not going to play D1 football like at all. It's just not going to happen. They're there for practice and all that. And 105 scholarships, I don't know how many schools, OU included, are even going to go up to 105, honestly.
I wouldn't go up. Would you?
Depends on who you're doing it for.
You gotta pay the money to the players that you need to get.
I think you're seeing that right now. Hey, real quick, I want to go back up to this comment from Benjamin. A guy might not practice good, but can still show out in games. You got to give him a shot. Completely disagree. If you're not practicing
you disagree with that. No, that happens all the time.
If they're bad in practice, they probably should.
No, there's guys that show up under the lights, Hunter. I disagree with you.
I don't think you should just give them a shot. They're in what are we saying by bad in practice? Like they're not good or they're not doing their job, or like which route are we going? I still think you have to you got to be able. You can't expect to play when you're having bad practices after bad practice after bad.
Yeah, but there's guys that show up better in game than they do at practice. It's a known fact, Hunter. Sorry, it's a fact.
You watch practice to know that.
I've been around guys and I've seen it firsthand. Okay, guys aren't very good in practice, and I'm like, where'd this come from?
In youth sports, Jay, compared to college athletics.
Intramurals, baby.
Oh my God.
Who was that coach? Intramurals, baby. Who was that?
I don't remember.
Come on, somebody drop it in there, please. This is intramurals, baby. Who was that? Hey, let's get to Coconut Greg. What's up, Coconut Greg?
Hey, nothing much. My thought is, with BV learning on the job how to be a head coach at OU, man, shaking my head about that thought. But I think one thing he can do right now to improve and, all that is stop with this, what it feels like this loyalty to upperclassmen. I mean, it's not like 1990 anymore. Like, for crying out loud, if there's a young guy that can see the field, put him on. With one exception, you got to know the playbook. But like right now, we're seeing all these young guys, ball out, like, Jacob Jordan and stuff. It's like, let's just play the young guy. The older guys aren't getting it done. I'm sorry, and if he screws up, okay, then you pull him. But you got to give these young guys a chance. I mean, they're chomping at the bit to get out there. I'm just sick of this. Oh, we're going to wait to play someone until they're a junior or senior. Forget that. Like,
yes,
come on.
I agree with you. Play the guys that can do it right now. And if they look better than the seniors, play them. I agree, Greg.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, like, our running backs who are the younger guys who are looking good right now. It's like, these guys couldn't have been terrible all season long. It's like, why are we waiting till now? Come on. I don't know.
And obviously Xavier Robinson's plenty physical enough to play. He looks like it to me. So
he's looked like it since he was a junior in high school, man.
Yeah. So
what on earth has kept him off the field until these last few weeks?
If I had an answer for you, Greg. Do not understand.
Well, you're there in Norman, Hunter. Come on, talk to someone and slip some common sense into these guys. I mean, I'm over here in Kansas. I can't be doing this for them. Help us out.
Come on, Hunter.
That's all I got. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Greg. Hey, let's get to Shakur. What's up, Shakur?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I just want to say this, man, about far as I miss the old days, man. Remember when players would stick it out with their team and earn their way onto the field, and everybody wasn't just leaving, you know what I mean? And if you did leave, you had to sit out a year. See, now I don't mind the NIL, but I wish they bring that back where if you want to transfer, You got to sit out of here. And I remember when coaches had a say so to where you could go. You remember that, right? You couldn't just go anywhere.
That's right.
The coaches would pick it. Now I missed that because it shouldn't be. What's the guy? DJ, the guy from started at Clemson, went to Oregon State.
Yeah.
And FSU. Like, come on, man, you shouldn't be able to do that, man. So
Yeah,
I wish they bring back the old ways to where players, if you want to transfer, you got to sit out of here, and that'll stop a lot of that. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I don't think it'll ever happen. But
no, it's not going. It's not. I'm gonna step off and listen.
Sit out, though. Hey, I do miss the. I think what I miss is that there's no rules at all. That's to me the biggest issue. There's no rules. But I think Bobby's right here in this too. When he says coaches shouldn't have power over a player either, and it's a different era than it was back then, and especially with NIL, that if a guy wants to go play somewhere else to get more money, that's what it is. And I think what you have to do now is just it's not the way it used to be. You got to almost forget. It's not college football. Yeah. It's not college football anymore. It's a G League football.
They opened Pandora's box with NIL, with the transfer portal, with all of it. You can't go back. Like you just can't.
Yeah,
it won't happen.
Yeah,
everyone has to be able to adjust going forward.
Yeah. And thanks for the people that dropped in the Dan Hawkins comment. Thank you. I don't have to remember who. I was trying to remember who it was. It's intramural. Go play intramurals, brother. Hunter, I cannot believe you don't remember that. Hey, we got last caller of the night right here. We got KB Longhorn. What's up, KB Longhorn?
What's up, brothers? Y'all doing all right tonight?
Yeah, doing okay. You?
Yeah, I'm good. Hey, I'll tell you another thing. I don't know if you keep track of this or not, but about 90% of freshmen coming into UT now come in the spring, the early enrollment.
Yeah, I think that number
makes a huge difference.
I think 90% would probably be across the board. I think that's about right.
Probably 80, 85, because there's like Eddie Pierre-Louis was an exemption because his high school wouldn't allow him to graduate early. So you have a few guys like that in every one's class. But yeah,
it's a big deal. It's a big deal if you can get there early. The other guys are so far behind, I feel.
Exactly. I haven't kept track of any other teams. I didn't know. I was just throwing that out there. I know Texas has a really high number that they strive to get in there early. And it truly makes a difference. Wingo and Simmons, that's you see it right there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, it's a big advantage. And what's crazy is you look at OU, and two of the guys that are one of Tatum was late enrollee, and he's playing, which is kind of surprising because you would think, I mean, in general, with the guys that come in late, have a very slim chance of getting on the field.
Oh, very slim.
So late in the party. So
yeah, because you can't. It's hard to get that playbook down after the season starts. You know,
and it's not even as much just the playbook as those other guys are doing winter workouts.
Oh, yeah.
Weeks. They're doing all of spring ball. So when summer conditioning starts, they're already in full swing of things.
Oh, yeah. Strength and conditioning and the nutrition program and all that stuff starts early.
Yeah. Good point, KB. Appreciate it.
All right. Y'all have a good night. Good to see you, Hunter.
Hey, you too, KB. Hey, what's funny, though, maybe Tatum got on the field because it probably wasn't that difficult to learn Seth's offense.
Who knows, man? Who knows? The running back rotation is just so
it's
scratching at times. Like I
hope Dent plays. I don't think he will. But I hope he does.
Again, why didn't he play last week?
Yeah, he can play every game.
I don't get it.
Why would you not give him SEC experience against big dogs? It would help him so much for next year. I don't understand. It makes no sense. Yeah. Zero sense at all. The only way you don't play him is if you're saying, Spencer Brown, we want you to go out and play your last 3 games as a college football player. And if they're doing that, that's weak. And maybe Clyde's right, Hunter.
Yeah, maybe.
Come on, Hunter. You're ridiculous. That's the worst.
I don't know how it's possible.
I don't want to get an argument at the end of this live, but that's ridiculous.
I'm joking. I don't know how. I don't think the drop off is going to be there. And if that was the case of like, oh, it was a big drop off between the two, then he wouldn't have played as much as he did against Maine.
Yeah.
It's you're putting the same thing out there, expecting it to somehow improve. It's not going to improve. It hasn't improved all year. Doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Looks like we got one more caller and then we'll close it out. So this will be the last one of the night, and it's Johnson closing us out tonight. Johnson, what's up?
This whole season doesn't make any sense.
You're right.
If you really want to look at the whole offensive side of the ball, none of it makes any sense.
None.
Dent played a great game against Maine. He looked like a man among boys there. He shuffled his feet. He looked the part, and you don't even play him. And that makes no sense. This whole coaching staff has not a clue of what's going on. And it really comes back to, does BV even have any input on the offense whatsoever?
Well,
I mean, he's the head coach. What is he doing?
Well, here's what I'd say. Watching it, I don't know if you would say he has no input or he has too much input, and that's why they look bad. I don't know at this point.
That's the whole thing I'm saying is that if you want to say he's the head coach, he doesn't have a clue what's going on the offensive side of the ball. Xavier Robinson came in, lost like 25 to 30 pounds, really worked himself into shape. He looked like on Saturday he might be the best back we have. And then it's like the whole thing, it just keeps going on and on. It's like the whole rotation in the running back room with you got none of it makes any sense whatsoever. And then you got the offensive line. Why are we still playing the guys that are not even going to be there next season? The season's already shot. So why are we not playing the younger guys?
I
None
agree.
of this makes any sense. But we want Brent Venables to stick around for another year, and it's going to be the same stuff next year. It's not going to get any better. And then I say this every night. I know you guys get tired of hearing it. Joe C gets a pass. If he wouldn't have did this contract extension that had make no sense, we wouldn't be the predicament we are now. We would have to be, we would have to say, we got to keep Brent Venables because we can't afford $44 million. It makes no sense.
Yeah, the contract extension.
It makes no sense. And BV I'm telling you, he's a nice guy. I've said it 1,000 times. He's a life coach. He doesn't need to be at Oklahoma. It's time to cut the cord and move on. It's time to cut the cord and move on. We're going to get embarrassed by Alabama. We're going to get embarrassed by LSU. But yet we're going to say, he's the guy. He's not the guy. It's going to be the same stuff next year. We're going to be same frustrated. And I guarantee you, a year from tonight, we're going to be saying the same thing. Why did we keep him?
Hey, Johnson, what does he have to go next year to keep his job?
He had to go at least 9-3.
You don't think they'll keep him at 8-4 or 7-5?
I don't think so. I really don't. I don't even know if he's going to be back next year. I think when you go and get embarrassed by Alabama on national TV and gets beat by LSU, do you think they're really going to keep him? Do you think the booster, they're really going to allow Joe C to say, keep the guy?
I think you're right, though, Johnson, with the buyout. I think that's probably holding some stuff up, don't you? The $44 million.
Why is it that all men's sports in Oklahoma are terrible and all women's sports are great? That's the funniest thing I've ever.
I don't know, but didn't Joe C hire the women coaches too?
They're not all terrible.
Who's
Which
not
ones are not terrible?
Who's not terrible, Hunter?
Which one?
Baseball and men's gym.
Baseball's not any good.
They are. They went to the national championship.
I was just trying to get you started, Hunter.
And besides golf, which ones were good?
Of the best programs.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. Joe C is going to own at the end of 2025. He's going to own the worst football team in the SEC and the worst basketball team in the SEC. And that's something to be proud of.
No, but basketball at OU doesn't bring in much. It's football programs. What you got to get right. That's what you have to get right.
That's what I'm saying. It's the things that matter on paper, the basketball, the football. Joe C is going to own the worst teams in the SEC. Is that true or not true?
On football and basketball?
Yeah.
I think basketball might finish 14th or 15th out of 16.
Okay, so that's the bottom of the barrel, right?
I mean,
but Joe C always gets a pass, and I don't understand why. He always gets a pass. Why does he get a pass?
I don't know enough about ADs and what they're all there. I think if you want to ask me why, I think go ahead, Hunter.
There's a lot of financial and administration stuff to it, and that's why a lot of people consider him to be one of the best in the country is that side.
Do you think he's the best in the country?
Right now? No.
Yeah.
I mean, I think but best in the country. Like there's a lot
Do you
of good
think he's
AD.
the top 5 AD in the country right now? Do you think he's the top 5 AD in the country?
Johnson, I honestly don't know.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think he is. I think he should be fired. I think the whole thing down there in Norman, Oklahoma, it's time to clean house, cut the cord, never hire another guy that has OU ties whatsoever. Go hire a different guy and move on because it's time to cut the cord.
Hey,
I've been going down there for 50 years, and it's time to cut the cord. Last Saturday night, it still burns me every time I see it. I saw the replay the other day, and it just burns me up. How in the world do you lose that game on Saturday night?
Yeah,
it's like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in 50 years of football.
It's like a dream. So it is.
Because we have no game plan whatsoever. And then they say, oh, we want to keep John Finley. That was the whole thing. We want to keep John Finley because we don't want Arnold to leave because he knows Levy's offense. And then you hire Seth, and he don't even run Levy's offense. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, it makes no – it doesn't make any –
and I know you guys got to go, but it's frustrating. I just to a point where I just mind-boggling. I just don't understand what's going on down there.
Hey, appreciate the call, Johnson. It's a good way to end it. And you're right about a few things. I would say that you're very right about. I don't know what the heck has went on offensively this year. I can't put a finger on. I don't understand it. It's bad. I do think, and the basketball thing, I saw a lot of people talking about Fears. Fears is a stud. Starting Porter Moser. It's kind of like Brett Mills not playing it. Start Jeremiah Fears. He's your best player. Start him. I don't get it. Okay, but that's another note. But the other thing I was going to say is the Joe C stuff. I know a lot of people aren't on the Joe C thing, and I'm just saying, if you talk to people in college football and in college sports, most of them would put Joe C high on the list as far as ADs. I'm just telling you, if you asked the general consensus of college athletics, they would say Joe C is one of the better ones. I just think if you took a survey, that's what would happen. Would you agree, Hunter?
Yes, I would agree with you on that.
So, and Chris said he's going to laugh when BV gets it turned around. I hope so too. I hope BV does get it turned around. I think it'd be great. Now, can he? We'll find out next year. Well, actually, I think you'll find out earlier than that. You'll find out in the offseason with hires and with
you still got to see it on the field, man.
No, I'll tell you right now, Hunter, if I see a few names that he would hire, I'd say no. I could see no.
Well,
I'm not going to mention.
You even can't say yes until you see it on the field, Jack.
Now, Jay Johnson, this is true. I mean, that obviously looks like way too big of a buyout. I mean, I agree with that. So, hey, a couple things. Appreciate all of the Surgeaholics in here. As always, appreciate you running the chat, guys, and keeping this discussion going. Appreciate everybody that called in tonight. Thank you so much. We love being able to talk to you. So thank you. Pray for our dad. He's in the hospital. I haven't talked to Jerm here. I will talk to him after this, see what's going on. Jeremy is there. So hopefully Jeremy will be back tomorrow, but yeah, prayers up for that. Thank you so much on that. And if you haven't, the extension made 0 cents. I'm still reading these comments. If you haven't had a chance to go to the Fan Stop, please check them out, thefanstop.com. It's another good night of talking ball with all of y'all. Hey, look at that. I made a rhyme. Jeremy would be happy about that. Talking ball with all of y'all. He could put that in his Fiend's Fantastic Failure book. But anyway, appreciate it. Cobra Kai returns tomorrow. Sensei Germ. But thanks, Hunter. Appreciate you being on here too. Everybody, have a great Friday.